flooring costs less.
Dry and cloudy this evening and tonight. A few mist or fog patches in places. Minimum temperatures of 7 or 8 degrees. And now you're up to date on News Talk.
Off the ball. This is News Talk.
And welcome along. We are busy this evening. Keith Wood and Rory O'Connor on Wednesday Night Rugby. Rob Kearney's future up for discussion. Leinster against Glasgow at the weekend, and much soul searching for Munster over the summer, all on the way after 8 o'clock. Seamus Power, PGA Tour golfer, with us. He is making a return to Ireland to play in the Irish Open. He's thrilled about that, so he's going to join us from Colonial, where he's playing this week over in Texas. And we'll talk to Lawrence Donegan about now 4-time major winner Brooks Koepka. It's getting serious. 4-time major winner Brooks Koepka. Just what are we looking at here? And Sean Dancer, from Australia, working in New Zealand over the last number of years, is the new Irish women's hockey coach. He's just landed on these shores in the last week or so. He's going to join us before 9 o'clock. 53106, the text number. We're at Off the Ball on Twitter. Richie McCormick, as ever, is here.
How are you, Joe?
And brace yourselves, everyone. Ronan Mullen also here. Hello, Ronan.
Joe, how are things?
Wonderful. We have a few bits of housekeeping to get through, if you will bear with us. Housekeeping piece number 1. On OTBAM this morning, Kieran Donaghy got things cranking up. He's waded in where, frankly, no man should wade in. He's given us his championship structures in an ideal world. And he's with us now. Hello, Kieran.
How's it going, Joe? How are you keeping?
You do realise if we were out for a pint together and you said, I have an idea for championship structures, I'd walk away immediately.
Well, it'd take a good few pints to extend this one over, Joe, but I think it's a good one.
Yeah, well, it's been generating a lot of traffic. People are talking about it. People are interested in it. Why don't you give us in broad strokes? And I guess the point of our little catch-up here is just to direct people towards it. Offtheball.com is where they can catch it. This morning's OTBAM. I think you're back in OTBAM tomorrow morning as well. But just in broad strokes, give people a sense of what you'd like to see.
Yeah, so I guess put it in simple terms, I think we just need to flip the calendar and then kind of redesign it a small bit as well, add a bit to it. Basically, we're playing the best competition we're playing. It's in the winter months, it's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. People want to bring their children to games. And it's just about trying to move basically kind of the tiered system to the summer, where teams are allowed to play games. Teams are guaranteed 7 games during the summer months, June and July. And what that'll do is it'll keep people in the country, it'll keep people wanting to play. People will be able to become a bit more affiliated with their county because they'll be able to see them 7 times in the summer rather than, the weaker counties that are trying to promote the game and then they get knocked out in the first round of the provincial championship. They get knocked out in the qualifiers. Even some of their better players might even say before the qualifier game.
Oh, have we lost you? You gone?
He's mid-flow.
Kieran Donaghy, are you there? Somebody from...
Here.
Oh, you're there?
I'm here, yeah.
We lost you for a second there. We thought someone from HQ had cut the cord, but you're back. So you were talking up the many benefits to it, and you were just at the point of even saying players who lose interest because they're out of the championship so early, they have a bit more of an incentive to stick around.
Yeah, it keeps when young kids are going to games in these counties, they want to see their best player. And what they don't want to see is a team without their best player because he's gone stateside. So that's the basics of it. Every team gets 1 game during the summer, and it's important to play all the games, to get teams to know that they're going to have 7 games in the summer. I think is important for management teams, it's important for fans, it's important for players. And then to get all these teams that are of a similar level playing against each other, you'll have better games, teams will improve, players will improve. Guys in the off season will know, look, listen, I'm going to have at least 10 or 11 games next year to try and stake a claim rather than playing the league and then, maybe 2 or 3 games during the summer. And just the fact that we don't really have too many exciting games to look forward to, Joe, during the summer, I think they're far and few between at the moment.
You'll get no argument from me, that's for sure. Like, I had a look, it's all detailed at the Off the Ball website, and you can see what a potential year would look like. You've gone through a range of fixtures and it's just infinitely better. And I don't think many people would disagree with you either. How critical a point are we at here? Because, one of the reasons I don't tend to go down too deeply in the championship restructuring conversation is I just have no faith that we'll see any of this anytime soon. But we are reaching a point where some radical action is needed.
Yeah, I think, we've seen it in the hurling championship, and how well it's worked, getting the best teams playing against each other during the summer. And just the sooner we cop on and try our best to copy that, also allowing for your club month in April, finishing the year near the end of August to allow September, to be a complete club month as well. So yeah, I just think it is probably far away, and will it be done? I don't know, but I think having the provincial championships, Joe, in February and March allows, the traditionalists to still see their Munster champions, their Ulster champions.
Yeah.
You still get to fight for that medal, and then you even round robin that. So the weaker counties and then provinces will at least get 3 or 4 games. And it's just about players playing games, Joe. It's crazy that we're training for 9, 10, 11 months and we get to play seven inter-county games or 7 or 8 inter-county games is madness. So to keep people training, to keep squads sticking together, I think they have to see a path where they can kind of they can see a future for themselves and they can see their team developing. And you'd also have a promotion relegation thing. So your bottom 2 teams in Tier 1 will get relegated. Your finalists of your Tier 2 competition go straight in for the Sam Maguire the following year.
Yeah.
And the Tier 2 teams play for a cup, the Mick O'Dwyer Trophy. So you'd have the Mick O'Dwyer and the Sam Maguire, I think would be better than what we have at the moment, which is we the best team of all time going for 5 in a row, and we don't get to see them for the first 5 or 6 weeks of the year.
Yeah.
And in the one we drew up, like their first game, and myself and Owen, we did the live draw, and the first game they got was Donegal and Ballybuffet on June the 1st.
Yeah.
So I think that game would whet the appetite. It'd bring people out. People would go to the games. It'd be a sellout venue. You'd have 25,000 packed into Ballybuffet. You'd have the huge amount of dubs, a great day out, a carnival of football.
Yeah.
And instead, what we have to look forward to is Dublin playing Loud at the weekend, and God knows what the score and that's going to be.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. I suppose you're out there talking to other people involved in GAA in various counties, and you probably have your finger on the pulse. I do sense there is an impatience to get this thing done and to restructure the championship in a way that is just logical. And even tiered championships now, I think the weaker counties are a bit more open to it than they might have been previously. That would be the sense from afar. I don't know what you're picking up on.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, of course, and I think their one worry is maybe lack of exposure.
Yeah.
In the Tier 2, and then what you do is you guarantee the Tier 2 live game every week, and they pick the best game of the Tier 2 competition and show it every week. They pick 2 games from Tier 1, show them every week, and then I think we have to go down the road, we have to move with the times, and we have to start streaming games that people don't have to, because the Sunday game can't fit in all the games now. So if this structure was brought in, it'd be even harder to fit on all the games. So you stream the ones. If I'm a Carlo man over in New York and I want to watch Carlo play, I should be able to watch them on a Sunday and watch them live and see my team, my parish playing a game. And I think that's important. And I think what we're doing is getting very little of that now at the moment.
No, it's true. Listen, thanks so much. We just wanted to give people a push towards it. So it's on the Off the Ball website. People can watch back this morning's OTBAM. And you're back on tomorrow morning?
No, we did shot clock this morning, Joe, and we tore up the script a bit. So instead of our normal shot clock show, we did our a full 35 minutes on tiered championship, and we've answered a lot of the questions. But if any of the listeners out there have alternatives or to make it better, by all means send them in to us and we'll have a look, and I'll probably address it and shot clock next Thursday. So it's got huge amount of people talking about it, and it's I think the more people talk about it, but I think what Owen did well and myself this morning was actually show what games we're likely to get and show the groups in Tier 1 and Tier 2 and the amount of quality games that you would get during the summer months, which is like what we have in the hurling. You've Clare and Limerick last week, you've Tipperary and Waterford. You've all these great games that we all sit down and watch on a Sunday, and basically the football is kind of left until the Super 8s. That's really what we've got a good game with Castlebar next week with Mayo and Roscommon. We had a good game with Cavan and Monaghan last week, but that's the exception to the rule, whereas the norm should be a number of great games on every week that people can watch.
Kieran, thanks a mil.
Not a bother, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Good man, Kieran Donaghy there. Now, before we get into the news round, one other last piece of business. The latest episode of Off the Wall, that is, of course, our Game of Thrones podcast, is now available. It goes live every Monday at 10 o'clock. Owen and Tommy and Andy Lee on duty. So, this is a spoiler alert.
What do you think of that, Andy? You've been sitting here...
Pull that back. Whoa. 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 This is a spoiler alert.
Whoa, says Joe.
You lads out there, give people a minute. Jeez, straight in.
Trigger happy
Ready
in
to
the call.
rip it. Also, I need to take out my headphones here. Pete, I'm looking at you and Enda. This is a spoiler alert. This is the lads reacting. Is this the last one done?
Done.
They're doing a series review next week. But
No, I mean the last Game of Thrones.
Oh, the last episode is done.
Yeah, okay.
How have you missed that?
Because I
don't even watch the Shagging Thing, and I know that.
I'm on season 2, episode 2.
Are you going through the whole lot?
Well, I'm starting to think twice now because all I'm hearing
Crazy,
about
man.
the final season is it's ridiculously bad. And thus far,
It's all about the journey, Joe.
I have found season 1 and season 2 incredibly poor. Like, is every character one-dimensional? Does it stay like that forever?
I don't know. It never really captured me. I felt like I got spoilers just by osmosis, being around people who talk about it all the time, that I just know like significant parts of the story. So I just thought that there's no point in actually watching this.
Yeah.
But
I just keep coming back to the Stuart Lee description of it. Peter Stringfellow's Lord of the Rings.
Right. Well, so far there's not one character I'm kind of interested in, but I'm told that will develop. But so far it's a little bit kind of one-dimensional for
Don't
me.
waste your time, Joe.
Well, I mean, I was
Stick on a 30 Rock box there. Have a laugh.
going to stick with it, but now everyone's saying, oh, well, the thing ends like a pile of pants anyway. So now, where's the high point for me?
There is a rich, creamy middle, I'd imagine, somewhere along the line.
Is there going to be a rich, creamy middle, even with the knowledge that this finale is terrible?
well, there's still 2 books to come. I think George R. R. Martin basically said, well, my ending's kind of like that. It's not quite like that, but it's kind of like
Okay.
that. So I think he has creative license to maybe see how badly this has been received and maybe
Make some
veer
changes.
drastically in a different direction.
How far did you get into it?
Me?
Yeah, not far.
Just a couple of episodes. I actually watched the finale because my housemate was watching. I said I'd watch it and see what the crack was. But
And what was his reaction, without giving any spoilers? Was
he's
he-
an uber fan, like
Right.
really Andy Lee level super fan, and he was very disappointed. Very disappointed.
Okay. Okay, spoiler alert, here we are. Hand off the trigger. Spoiler alert, this is Owen and Tommy and Andy reacting to the grand finale on the Off the Wall podcast. Have a little listen.
What did you think of that, Andy? You've been sitting here in silence for the last few minutes before we clicked record.
Shite. What else can you say about it? Was there one good part of the whole episode?
I have to be honest, I enjoyed the first 30 minutes.
Don't think it was contrived.
I thought the second part maybe was more contrived. I think we were going to get the first 30 minutes. I thought it was really good.
Second half was just boring.
Oh, was the first half not good?
First half, it was a natural ending. It was inevitable. After the last couple of episodes that we've had, there was no surprise there. Were you surprised?
Okay, so surprised that John killed Daenerys a little bit. Spoilers alert, by the way, for anybody just joining us.
Nobody's watching us. If they haven't bloody seen it.
They're obviously spoilers and theories.
But why would you want to be surprised with that? Like, we were never really going to be surprised with that.
I know, but like...
That was a little bit surprised. It was like it wasn't shocking or anything, but it was kind of like.
I know, but I mean that part of the storyline. I don't know what you mean by contrived with that. I think it's been building towards that.
I don't know.
Okay,
It just
I think we
felt
need to-
forced. It didn't feel... I don't know.
Andy the broken.
La 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 la.
You
We're
can
done.
take your fingers out of your ears now, Joe. It's all right.
We are done.
Can I just like, me and Ronan were sitting
Yeah.
here listening to that and watching
the
that
same.
and watching Tommy's massive guns on the screen for those who are streaming. That man's been in the gym a lot. And watching Joe Malloy with his fingers in his ears saying la 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 la.
Why would I want a spoiler?
But like, and I'm looking to the left and I'm seeing Shane in the box as well doing the exact same.
nothing-
I'm like wondering what the hell I'm working with now.
I'm not going to sit through the next 4.5 series to get a
You could
spoiler.
have just taken the earpiece out and just gone.
I could hear it through the window. But judging by the body language, they didn't think much of it.
I thought Sunday was going to be the end of all this. Like walking around the office has been walking on eggshells for the last couple of weeks. You mentioned the word game, and
Whoa!
people are just.
Suffice it to say, they live happily ever after, and it fades out by them playing Walk of Life by Dire Straits.
I'm at a distinct disadvantage because you see, even just like the pictures tell me who's still alive 4 seasons on.
Yeah.
You know, like there's some. I already know who hooks up with who.
And social media etiquette has gone out the window, it seems, because
Yeah.
the point I was making before, that I seem to know everything that happens in the show without having actually watched it. Like, I've seen pictures of
Yeah.
dead people.
Yeah, no, totally. Someone gave out to me, it was about 6-7 weeks ago, for giving away the end of The Sixth Sense.
Who did that?
Someone on Twitter.
Shame.
Yeah.
Ah, come on.
And I thought there's a statute of limitations
There has to
there.
be.
But Game of Thrones, I think there's another 6 months of just shut up. A lot of people have only got into it in the last few months because of the hype, and they've said, right, I better watch this phenomenon.
And people watch it when they want to watch it. It's not as if they're staying up till whatever time it was on Sky Atlantic, or not everybody has Sky Atlantic. So let's be honest, a lot of people are watching it on dodgy streams. So it's not appointment viewing.
No. That is the latest episode of the Off the Wall podcast, brought to you with thanks to Discover Northern Ireland, and you can watch the whole thing now at offtheball.com, Facebook, YouTube, or get the podcast on Spotify. I am going to, when I get to season 6, start also listening to Off the Wall after each episode to see what they make of it. I'm going to go deep. But honestly, if some of these characters don't get a bit more three-dimensional, I'm going to struggle. Because the whole gore and the killing and the nudity is great and everything, but after a while it just becomes a little bit...
I dread to think what this place would have been like when Fade Street was still in the air.
Fade Street?
Remember Fade Street, Joe?
Do I? Heck, yes, I do. All of that stuff. Love Island's starting in a few weeks.
Oh, you're delighted.
Does anyone want to do a Love Island podcast?
You bloody well do, don't you?
I would consider it.
What would you call that?
Jesus. Off the island?
I don't know. Have you a thought?
No.
Ronan's in anyway, judging by the sounds of that.
Yeah. Right, let's start this news round a bit later than advertised. So there's big news.
Adult ourselves up.
Yeah, big news actually from the world of boxing. This is definitely the headline news of the day.
Yeah, the International Boxing Association today suspended as the governing body for the Olympic boxing tournament. The decision follows a 6-month investigation into AIBA's governance. The IOC say that boxing will keep its place in the Tokyo 2020 programme, with a task force to be set up to run the competition. IOC President Thomas Bach says Gafur Rahimov's brief presidency wasn't the sole reason behind AIBA's suspension, but it certainly didn't help.
The judging and refereeing issue became more obvious in Rio than it was before, and there the internal inquiry in AIBA happened after Rio. Mr. Rahimov at the time was not interim president or president of AIBA. That means that at this time US citizens, US sponsors, US organizations could still deal with AIBA without facing extremely serious risks, both reputational as well as legal. The situation has changed very much, and this agglomeration of facts is what led the inquiry commission to their recommendation.
So, in effect, what does all this mean, Ronan? Certainly qualifying for Tokyo now is a mess?
Yeah, very, like, from a boxing standpoint, leaving the governance to one side in terms of what the boxers are looking at. There's uncertainty around qualifying, when that's going to take place, and
January to May of next year is what they say, but God knows how that's going to.
And the measures that AIBA had might vary in terms of what the new body put forward.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the split in terms of events, because it had been agreed upon that there'd be more female events this time. So there's a limit on the amount of boxing events that can take place. So it has to be split. In it, like for the previous 2 Olympics where women's boxing has been included, it's been 10 and 3. That's since been revised to 8 and 5. So there's female boxers training under the understanding that they are now qualifying for the Olympics, and it seems like they will carry out that.
It could fall through.
It could, it just brings about another layer of uncertainty. But
and who would actually run the competitions within the Olympics? Like, is that all TBC as well?
Yeah, well, the AIBA would have done that
previously,
the last 73 years.
Yeah.
But the task force are going to, I think it's going to be not necessarily a formal body, but just a temporary body, because this, as it stands, is just a suspension. And AIBA's final stance in this thing will be decided after Tokyo.
Yeah, it's been run by the guy in charge of the Gymnastics Federation, Moritami Watanabe. So he's going to be overseeing the task force, and then the task force is going to oversee the competition and the qualifiers.
Okay.
But we'll know more in June, because that's the deadline they're giving them to set out the qualification process.
Kieran O'Sullivan has tweeted me saying, "Don't listen to anyone except me," which is a good start, I think. From season 2 onwards, it does take off and become the best written produced TV show ever. I also binge watched As You Need and was told to just get through season 1. It does improve after, and no one is ever happy with any finale.
Right, Veep is better than it, and that's just ended.
The Scrubs finale was really good.
Stop it now. And Barry, have you watched Barry yet?
Oh, Barry.
Barry's great TV.
HBO are flying at the moment.
Yeah, Barry is great TV. Bill Hader as a hitman turned wannabe actor.
Didn't think the Breaking Bad finale was awful either. I was expecting it to really just not work, but it was acceptable. These are tough things to get right. The Sopranos one is generally acclaimed as well.
Is it?
Yeah, as is Mad Men.
I think the Sopranos one has grown in terms of its,
status.
Yeah.
As for our potential Love Island podcast, Isilde Cody's mind is in the gutter. It could be called Up Against the Wall. It's a bit graphic. It's unnecessary. We're going for a classier name than that. Do you know what though? It works.
Yeah. It captures the tone of the show.
I don't think we can not have it call that now.
Richie's gone.
Oh dear.
Right.
Last literally 2-3 stories because we have to get to Seamus Power.
The IRFU's performance director, David Nucifora, signed a new 3-year contract. His deal will keep the Aussie in this job until the end of the 2021-22 season. Nucifora took over in 2014 and says he's excited about driving further advancements in Irish rugby. Maurizio Sarri has denied that he's spoken with Juventus about their managerial vacancy. Reports admittedly claim the Chelsea boss has been approached about replacing Massimiliano Allegri at the Serie A champions, but the 60-year-old says he'll hold talks with his current employers after next week's Europa League final. Meanwhile, Sarri's predecessor, Antonio Conte, is poised to take over at Inter. Pretty much every major sporting organ in Italy is claiming that Conte will sign a 3-year contract with the Nerazzurri to replace Luciano Spalletti, who's still in the job, but won't be, it seems, until Saturday. Mike Prendergast has joined Racing 92's new coaching staff. The former Munster scrum half leaves Stade Francais after just a single season and will work as attack and three-quarters coach. Prendergast replaces Laurent Labie, who leaves Racing to take up a role with the French national side after the World Cup. The 41-year-old was a man in demand, having reportedly been backtracked even on a pre-contract agreement with Toulon to remain in Paris.
And quickly as you can, because I think people would like to hear him, Luke O'Connell.
Yeah, interesting guy. Republic of Ireland manager Mick McCarthy says he's looking forward to working with the Bolton teenager who joined up with the squad this week. They're working in the Algarve, and having only seen Connell on TV, McCarthy's relishing the chance to work with the Liverpudlian in the flesh, and Connell himself was excited to work alongside some of his heroes.
Seamus Coleman, the skipper, and an idol really, isn't he? I look up to him because he plays for my childhood team, so it's crazy, to be walking in and you just see them, and you've watched them for 10 years plus maybe, and then you're just now in a team with them and be training with them today. It's unbelievable.
Good on him. I like him. What an accent.
He looks like a member of the Coral, and he kind of talks like one too. Great lad.
That is the news round done for this evening. We never really, because we're just busy at the moment with everything going on, got a chance to touch on the fact that Brooks Koepka has come from nowhere in the last 2 years to win 4 majors. We're going to talk to Lawrence Donegan next, and hear from Seamus Power over on the PGA Tour. He's coming back for the Irish Open at Lahinch. So a bit of golf to come, then rugby.
Off the ball on News Talk. News Talk Breakfast.
Andrea, I hear you have a big night planned tonight.
Preparing for the local and European elections.
That's not what you're doing.
Yes, it is.
Listeners, if you're wondering what Andrea is going to be doing tonight, here's a little clue.
Of all the songs.
Mariah Carey. I hate when she does that.
I think she's a brilliant singer.
Vince is thinking, is she into the Careys from Gorn?
No accounting for taste, but sure, there you go.
News Talk Breakfast with Shane Coleman and Kieran Donaghy.
In association with AIR.
Back tomorrow from 7 on News Talk.
I've always wanted to run a creative data agency. Studying at NCI gave me the skills to do that. I'm living proof that the course not only helped my career, it literally changed my life. Deirdre Monks, HDIP and Data Analytics.
With MBA and Master's courses in marketing, HR, management, finance and computing, prove to yourself what you can do at National College of Ireland. Call 1850 221 721 or visit ncirl.ie.
Business is changing, which is why at Ford, when we say our commercial vehicles are built for business, we mean it. Our new Transit range is still tough, still powerful and always dependable, but it now has the brains to match its superior brawn, with an even wider range of innovative features, smart technologies and greater efficiency. And with Ford's 192 sales event driving better value, you can get 3.9% low APR, a 5-year warranty and a €4,500 bonus on the new Ford Transit range. Choose Ford Transit, the future of commercial vehicles. Order now at your participating local Ford dealer by May 31st. Ford, go further. Terms and conditions apply. See Ford.ie. Applicable to registrations between July the 1st and July 31st.
Whatever's on your list, come in and see how much you can save at Lidl. From Thursday, check out our 3 for €9 mix and match meats like Ballymanor fresh Irish turkey breast mince, Inishvale fresh Irish pork loin chops and fresh Irish beef mince. And check out our big brand super savers like Danone Actimel 8-pack, just $2.89, and Sensodyne gentle whitening toothpaste, only $1.99. Lidl, more for you.
Mattresses-delivered.ie. Nationwide delivery within 48 hours for free. That's mattresses-delivered.ie. Lowest prices guaranteed. Don't forget the hyphen. T's and C's apply.
When it comes to appliances, I like mine delivered. I.e., they're in my kitchen at the time agreed. The biggest brands at the best prices. Like washing machines from only $179.95. American fridge freezers from only $599.95. Ovens from only $169.95. Technology, dishwashers, barbecues. You don't even have to leave your home. Just clickety-click and bingo.